Welcome to the world's #1 fitness business podcast for health club owners, gym managers, and fitness entrepreneurs. As always, this will be a great show as we have another expert to help your fitness business and your career. We'd like to thank our premier sponsor, Active Management, for supporting us, and we highly recommend becoming a member of Active Management to strengthen your business in 2016. There are loads of resources members receive, so join the Active Tribe today at www.activemgmt.com.au. Now that's enough from me. Let's welcome the show's amazing host, Chantal. What's on this week's show?
Harper, this week's guest is bursting with energy, and that's because our special guest is Lexie Griffiths. She's a world-renowned speaker, an inspirational coach, and the creator of the Sizzle Box. Sounds pretty interesting, right? I'm going to tell you more about Lexie really soon. But first, a quick shout out to one of our sponsors. High fives and a huge thanks to Active Management. They're giving every single one of you a free ebook download valued at $100. Just go to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active to get your ebook. Thank you so much to JT and the Active Management team. Now, let's get stuck into the show, because if you've heard the last few shows, you know that we're doing the rounds asking you all for questions. So what I want to know is this: if you could ask any of our former guests a question, who would it be and what would you ask? All you need to do is hit pause on the podcast right now. Head over to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, click on my picture, which is up at the top right of the screen, and tell me who you would ask and what your question would be. We're going to collect all of your answers, and in show 50, you can listen in to hear the answers. It is that easy. So go on, click pause right now.
This month, we have an awesome prize for people who subscribe to the show notes at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. or engage with the Fitness Business Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or even emailing us. Do it and you may be this month's winner. Now it's time for this week's guest.
It sure is, Harper. As mentioned, this week's guest is Lexie Griffiths, the Sizzle Maker. I'm going to tell you more about Lexie when we start the interview, but here's what we're going to cover in today's show. Lexie talks about leadership and team culture. She gives us tips on developing love within your teams and how to increase retention within our fitness businesses. Lexie is just incredibly knowledgeable. She is so experienced, and most of all, she is just really, really passionate about what she does. It was a real pleasure for me interviewing her, and I think that you guys are going to love this week's show. Lexie Griffiths, are you ready to Fitspire our global team of fitness business owners and managers?
Yes.
And are you ready to overload our FBP tribe with pearls of wisdom, strategies for success, and tips to make them better leaders and business people?
You bet.
Well, let's get stuck into it. Now, Lexie Griffiths is a world-renowned speaker and an inspirational coach of leaders and managers across a wide spectrum of industry sectors. Her clients have included Mercedes-Benz, Meridian Spa, Ursa, L'Oreal, Zumba, and many, many more. She's a best-selling author and has written and developed programs for companies like Reebok International. Plus, but wait, there's more. She's a television presenter, a coach, and a keynote speaker. Lexie, that all sounds completely amazing. Is there anything that you can't do?
Plenty, Chantal, plenty. But one of the key strategies and techniques I can really share straight away is you don't have to do everything. You just have to have a fantastic team that's by your side, that can support you, that you can share your strengths and use their strengths, and together you can make the world rock.
Oh, I love that. Lexie, you have got such a great amount of experience and had huge success in your career. But tell us this, has it always been good news? Have there been any hurdles along the way?
Yeah, I was very lucky that I traveled the world, and we moved from UK and went out to Germany to work with the army there. My husband's a teacher. And I went onto the Germanet, and I was told in the first education that I took, Lexie, you can't be like this in Germany. You have to learn German much more. Please don't speak. And as you can imagine, I love speaking. And it really knocked me back a bit.
Yeah.
And I thought, am I in the right business? Can I do this? And I think one of the take-home really learning strategies there was that my support team said, come on, you're you. You are very different, and just be yourself and work on it and go and learn German. Go and learn more German and be yourself, but really have that knowledge as well. And that was a great take home for me, because you will get knockbacks and you will get people that really don't want to or don't tap into your passions and maybe might be afraid. So get that support group around you, learn as much as you can, and then move forward.
Great advice. And let me ask you this, how's your German?
Sehr gut, danke schön. Und jetzt, ich unterrichte auch in Deutsch.
It's very good. It's very good. Wow. What did you just say? You said it's good?
Very good.
Yes.
I teach and also coach and speak in German too. So for me, it's been a huge learning curve. Being with a different culture and tapping into their culture, but it's been a fantastic experience for me. And my teams and the events that we put on, like Crazy Christmas, are predominantly German. So you see, don't be knocked back, go forward, take advice, and just move on.
That's great advice. Now let's talk about your business, the Sizzle Maker. Tell us, how did it come about and what does it mean?
Well, if you can imagine, Chantal, that when you go into a restaurant or when you go into a club and you can just feel that buzz, that everybody's on the same wavelength, everybody wants to make your day, they're having fun together, they know what they're doing, and you can just feel that buzz between the members, between the guests and the team. That's a sizzle. It's almost like an electricity that you can feel it and that you get infected by it. And because lots of people have said to me about our events and about what we do is you just give us a sizzle. You make us feel great. You make our day. We go out laughing. I thought, there's something in this. And so I started to give seminars on how to deliver this sizzle, how to get the sizzle yourself, and then how to deliver the sizzle with yourself and your teams. And that was followed on by somebody saying, I love it, we love having you here, but it's very difficult to get all the managers and all the team together when you come. We need to have some follow-up. And even though I go back regularly, people still want something, tools that they can look up to remind them what it was, to give them skills, to be able to show videos to people who weren't there on the day. And this is predominantly why I made the Sizzle Box. To really help people to carry on with that sizzle without having to have me there live.
And I should mention to our tribe right now that we will be putting Lexie's website address obviously in the show notes today, so you can jump on and check out her website and the toolkit of which you mentioned. So how do we get it? Is that the best way, jumping onto the website?
Yeah, jump off the website. We're currently making it. It's going to be 4 DVDs, 3 of which is going to concern your own professional development, how to manage your teams, customer service, and also one showing me in action so that you can see also how to take it in action with your team. And that will be accompanied by a manual and also action plans. So you have all you need for the next 3 or 4 years.
So Lexie, for the fitness industry, for the FBP tribe, how can the Sizzle Maker help us?
It can really help you tap into how you can take your team from where they are now and how you can take yourself from where you are now to being somewhere that people want to be a part of. They want to be with your brand. They love your culture. I mean, I run a few events in Germany and I almost never have to advertise. My marketing is through social media, but we have our own tribe called Sneezers.
Sneezers.
And
Tell us about Sneezers.
I thank Seth Godden for that amazing marketeer. Sneezes is when, as you know, when you sneeze, you're infecting people. And these people infect others with our brand and our culture. They love being with us so much that they encourage other people to come. And we do fun things with them. And they bring so many people. It's just incredible. So if you really have a brand and culture that is amazing and does tap into your team and tap into your guests and members, They will be coming back and they will be staying with you forever.
Lexie, let's talk a little bit more about culture and leadership because, as I mentioned in your introduction, you've been in and around the fitness industry for many years and work with many different fitness businesses. When it comes to different areas, what would you say has evolved, let's say, in leadership over time?
For me, the leadership, because I've been leading teams for a long, long time too, and I've had to change my leadership styles. One of the best things that anybody could do, and what I did, was when I learned how to coach. When I did NLP, neuro-linguistic training, and became an executive coach, I learned about myself and also about how to coach other people. And I realized then how I had to change my style to really look at the different generations that you have in your teams. For example, in the summer, I have a team, or we lead up a team, my husband and I, that has 5 different types of generation, the 5 generations in the team. And you really have to know and be flexible about what suits not only the personality of the person, but what generation they're in as well. So this leadership has really involved communication skills, empathy, being able to give feedback, or as we say, feed forward, is so important today, but it has to start with yourself.
And how about the evolution of team culture?
It's the same thing. It really is the same thing. The teams really want to have you behind them. They want to see you walk the talk. They do love meetings, but they've got to be a bit quirky. They've got to be meaningful. You have to tap into them as personalized people as well as a team, and really make it meaningful for them, and the team will love you for it.
Lexie, how would you describe authentic leaders?
Authentic leaders are people who are really genuine. They've found their passion, they believe in what they're doing, they have the why behind them, they have a story to tell, and they show it. They walk the talk. And they want to share this with their people. They don't want to keep it for themselves. They want to share it with their team. They want to develop both themselves and their team. And when they do this, they'll have a team that will gladly follow them and work hard for them.
So for our tribe that want to embrace that, they want to be authentic leaders, do you have some tips for us on how you can actually develop that authenticity?
One of the greatest books I've read, apart from learning coaching, is by Daniel Goleman on emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. And this is maybe 80% they found from research of our success in life and in work. And this is where it starts with you. So the number one tip is get on and read all about social intelligence and personal emotional intelligence. And that will really help you to understand your team, to play their strengths, to play your own strengths, and to tap into really the potential of yourself and teams, and of course, your members as well.
So talking about teams, if we, say, are employing new people in management roles, for example, what would you say, what's the way to go about identifying if they've got that authenticity gene? I mean, what are the traits that we're looking for of genuine people?
It depends, first of all, on what your culture is and who you want on that team. When you've decided what you want and your values, make sure that you have your values, your 3 main values written down. And then when you're having a conversation with your new people or your employees, the people that you want to interview, ask them much more searching questions. You know that they can do the job. I mean, hopefully on paper they have the technical skills. But again, the social and the personal intelligences make such a great impetus on how they lead their team. Ask them if they can describe their values and then give examples. For example, one team I work with, we've evolved their values as the 3 Ps: professionalism, passionate, and being positive. Well, if you want to tap into people like that, ask them questions. Let them give you examples of when they're passionate, what they are passionate about, who inspires them, when they've been professional, what it means to them, what positivity means to them. And you get a much more in-depth interview than just doing the normal interview questions. Be a little bit weird as well. I mean, as you probably know, I'm a bit weird, I'm a bit crazy. That's what I stand for. That's why I run Crazy Days and Crazy Christmas. Ask them if they would be prepared to stand up and sing a song, to do a rap, to tell a joke. Because if they're not, then maybe that's not the sort of person for you. Are they really ready to go the extra mile? And so you can tell a lot about people when you are with them. Look at their body language. Are they being congruent? Are their eyes and their body language matching who and what they're saying? There are a lot of tips that you can get from NLP to help you with this, but use your gut feeling as well. And maybe you will make a mistake. Everybody makes a mistake, but make sure that if you have made a mistake, get rid of them as soon as possible, because you cannot make people somebody that they're not. And it takes much longer to train your team afterwards in being positive and in being passionate. So it's well worth spending a lot of time in that interview process to get the people that really align with you and your values. But it has to start with you first.
Great advice, Lexie. Let's talk a little bit more about that leadership and team relationship, because obviously the leadership style that you have is going to impact the relationship that you have with your team. So what would you say it means to have your team love you?
For me, what it means is that they come forward. They're very proactive. I have my team, and I don't see that I'm not as lucky as a lot of people who are seeing their team every day. I have people sending me mails, supporting me on Facebook, giving me ideas, sharing ideas. They want to push your brand and the culture. They become part of you. They become part of that culture. They really want to be part of that sizzle. And you can tell them. They'll go the extra mile for you. I never have to ask anybody, please will you do this, please will you do that. They're always forthcoming.
How long do you find that it takes to develop that relationship, to develop that love?
It's interesting because when I have my events and I have international presenters who are probably in lots of different cultures throughout the year, it takes me about 36 hours. Because as soon as they come in for breakfast, I set the scene. I've spoken to them before about what my expectations are, what their expectations are. I've already cemented the values. And when they're there, they get quirky little things at breakfast. We have some fun interviews and we start right ahead on the stage, going crazy, interviewing themselves. And amazingly enough, within about 24 hours, they're there because they're having fun, and they can see that you're passionate, and they can see what happens when you give that love over to your members and guests. They get it back again, and so it doesn't take long. I think the harder part is keeping that commitment, keeping them on board. You know, you might be able to, in that honeymoon period when teams are really getting together, really be able to inspire them very quickly. But the great leaders are the ones who are consistent, who are supporting them, are showing them how to grow, are listening to them and coaching them and developing them both professionally and personally. And once you do that, they will love you forever. Even if they leave you to go somewhere else, they will still be talking about you.
So, Lexie, for those of us that maybe might take a little bit longer than that 24 to 36 hours to develop that love, do you want to give us a couple of quick tips? I think you've given us some great examples already, but a couple of quick tips on how we can, I guess, develop but also sustain that love between the team and a leader.
First of all, you have to look and see what type of management style your new employees need. Do they want a little bit more micromanaging? When can you leave them on their own? When can you just let them go and then come back to you with ideas? It's really being very observant, being curious about them and backing them the whole time. You really have to spend time with them. When I have the multi-generation team in summer for 6 weeks in a summer school, they ask for feedback or feed forward, as we call it, after every class they've done. They really are, they just want to be satiated. They want to know, how can I make myself better? But you have had to make that culture before. And once you have made that culture, then you follow it up you walk the talk, and you make time for them, sit down with them one-to-one. One size does not fit all, and they will really love you for it. So take time, communicate, watch them, watch their personality styles, really foster their strengths, and don't worry about their weaknesses so much. A lot of bosses, a lot of leaders pay so much time trying to make people better at something that they're not good at. Don't do that. Show them how to manage their weaknesses, but really focus on their strengths, because that's what they will love doing, and that's what they will show their expertise in and make your team and your brand stronger.
Do you think that those qualities or those tips that you've just identified could also be used to develop the love between our members and our business?
Definitely. When I was teaching for a long time, I had my studio and my own classes. My culture was to invite people in or be the bridge, to be not complicated, to be very, very easy. And people knew me and my team for that style. So again, it's doing the same sort of thing. It's loving the members. It's knowing what their goals are. It's making things easy for them, really easy for them. When they come to the clubs, still again, when I'm visiting clubs, the timetables that I see in front of me, I would not be able to do not half of the classes that are set there. And I'm from the fitness industry. So no wonder that those 80-90% of people don't go into our studios. We still haven't got it right. And I think if we can really be more humble and more willing to embrace people that might need more help in getting started in the fitness industry, rather than being fit already, which still I see, those people are going to be motivated already.
Yeah.
And once they're in there, spend time with them. Be out there. I've seen managers locked in their rooms. Get out there, walk the talk, walk with them, find out what they're enjoying, and get your team to embrace that culture. Give them trainings, lots of trainings on social intelligence, how to speak with people, how to build relationships, how to build rapport, because that's how we keep our members.
Talking about keeping members, let's talk about retention. Now, we know that it's one of the greatest challenges within fitness businesses. What place would you say that we as owners and as staff play to motivate or inspire clients?
Huge, a huge part. We can keep those clients by, again, inspiring our team to share that passion that they got, but to really guide them with the empathy. And to really start doing fun events and fun things. Don't take everything so seriously. Build tribes within your clubs, and choose people for your team that love people foremost. I remember the Starbucks quote that says, "We're not in the coffee business, we're in the people business, delivering coffee." And if we could use that for our industry, we are in the people business, delivering exercise, delivering wellness, delivering fun experiences for people. I think we really need to change our mindsets to inspire a lot more people to come in from the door and to keep them there, to keep them moving, to keep them laughing, to offer them lots of different things. I remember when I first started teaching and I did country line dancing, and people said to me, "What are you doing that for? That's not fitness. People aren't getting into fitness clothes." And I said, "Exactly. That's exactly why I'm doing it. Those people are going to get off the couch and come on in. They don't have to get changed. Once they're in there, they're moving. And once they've tapped into you, your personality and your passion, they then move over and try other types of classes." But we've got to make that bridge for them, not to be scared to come in first. And I think that's what's lacking. That and speaking with people. I went into a facility here in Sydney last week and I was ignored. I came in and I came out and not one person spoke to me. Well, really, why would I even be inspired to join that club? We have to learn to speak to people and to embrace people who come through the door. Maybe I wasn't the right fit for them, I don't know, but I was a potential customer.
Oh, it just sounds crazy, Lexie, that would even happen.
I know, it's amazing. And this is a well-known brand. I was amazed. The place looked great, but again, there's no social and personal intelligence there.
Wow.
I was ignored. Help. And we know that that's one of the main reasons that people do not go back. Nobody speaks to them. Nobody makes them feel important. We're not shining the light on our members. Or maybe the instructors that we have and the trainers we have are only shining the light on members who are like them. And this is one of the things I do in coaching and coaching teams. How can we tap into everybody and not just the ones that we feel comfortable with? Step out of your comfort zone.
There's a good tip for everyone as well, especially those gyms in Sydney who are listening at the moment. It might be a good time to go and do a mystery shop and see what type of experience people are having when they're walking into your facility. I know some gym owners are very aware of it and very conscious of that experience and that interaction, but it sounds like there are definitely still some out there that are missing the point when it comes to connecting with their members, their potential clients as well.
I think you're right there, Chantal. I think that mystery shopping is a really great thing to do, but it's a follow-up. It's a taking action, because I know that a lot of owners are aware, but they're not following it up. So the first thing I would advise, get your team on a people skills, a real people skills workshop and education. It will change your business.
Great advice, great advice. Let's talk a little bit about you and your team. Lexie, what is happening in 2016 for you?
Oh, it's so exciting.
Tell us.
My passion is also traveling the world. And even whilst I've been in Sydney, I've been very lucky to meet up with some of the foremost people in the industry here, as well as legendary Justin Tamsett himself. And after this, I'll be going back and going to FIBO, which is the biggest expo in the world in Germany, and going on to coach big clubs in Germany, 2 big clubs that I've been coaching for a long time. Following that, I'm going to France to coach clubs, and also my event, Fun and More, will be taking place in Turkey, which is a 5-day fitness and exercise event, highlighting all the different trends of fitness with a fantastic team of international presenters who are delivering the sizzle in a great location in Turkey called Liberty Lukia. And after that, going on to coach other clubs throughout the world. Ursa have just asked me to speak in China. So always new opportunities there. I think once that people tap into your energy and realize that you are authentic and have gone through a lot, they really want to use you.
That sounds like an incredible year that you've got coming up. Lexie, finally, you know how busy fitness business owners and managers are. So can you give us your best fit bizpiration with your top 3 tips on where they should start with leading their organisation?
Okay, I think the number one is to look at their own time management and to make sure that they're building in time at least once a week to speak to each one of your team, if possible, for at least 30 minutes if you can, one-to-one, and be present for them. It's unbelievable what you will learn from them. And ask them, what would you do? Give me one thing that you would do that could make our company better for you and our members. They want to be part of it. So the first thing is to really make time to have one-to-one for your team. The second one is to learn. Be curious, be bold, take risks, go out there and really read all the time. Surround yourself with successful people. Go to networking experiences. I know that Justin's off to Ursa in Orlando in a couple of weeks. You have incredible roundtables here, I think, with Justin, and your own congresses here. It's vital that you not just see what the trends are going, but meet with other people who are sharing maybe the same problems with you. In Germany and in England now, we have roundtables where, and I know you have here, where managers get together and share concerns, share ideas. Don't be afraid. Join up with people and share. Can I give another tip?
Yes.
Have fun.
Have fun.
Sense of humour, whatever we do, be a bit crazy. I think that's about 20 tips now. See what I mean?
We'll take as many as we can get. That's fine.
Okay, yeah, but whatever you do, don't lose your sense of humour. Have fun. Build fun into the workplace and just enjoy what you do. If you're doing what you love, the people will realise it. They'll know that you're authentic and your brand will go from good to great.
Lexie, thank you so much for joining us on the Fitness Business Podcast.
Thank you, Chantal. And I hope that there were some things that you can use there. And I just thank you for letting me share them. And good luck to you all out there. It's such an incredible industry that we're in. And just get those people skills up and we'll be fantastic.
The Fitness Business Podcast is very appreciative of our podcast partners. Here's a quick word from one of our partners.
Rex Roundtables is a powerful forum in Europe, the US and Australia for club owners and personal training business owners. In Australia, Justin Tamsett from Active Management runs the Rex Roundtables under the brand Industry Leaders Roundtable. In the show notes for today's episode, you'll find a YouTube link for you to watch and hear more about the roundtables. This 90-second video is a great explanation, so don't forget to check it out in today's show notes.
It's time for the Fitness Business Podcast wrap.
Okay, tribe, here are my top takeaways from this week's show. Lexie said if your business has an amazing brand and culture, then your members will want to come back for more. One of the best skills a leader can learn is how to coach, and she gave the example of NLP as a great example of that coaching. She said that authentic leaders are people who are really genuine. They want to develop themselves and their team. She also said that it's well worth spending a lot of time during the interview process to ensure that you're recruiting someone who is in line with you and with your company values. And last but not least, Lexie said that when it comes to your team, make sure that you foster their strengths and show them how to manage their weaknesses. Tribe, you know that I love chatting to regular listeners of the show, and I recently caught up with one of our tribe members, Paul Hooper from Paul's Body Engineering. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome one of our regular listeners to join us on the show today. Welcome to Paul Hooper from Paul's Body Engineering. Welcome, Paul.
Well, thank you.
Now, you are the owner and founder of Paul's Body Engineering. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your business?
Yeah, sure. So I'm up on the Sunshine Coast, the beautiful Sunshine Coast in Queensland. I'm a personal trainer. I'm also a fitness teacher, and I operate mainly at a local gym up here, as well as do some online coaching and run a few boot camps. I'm quite busy at the moment, but wouldn't have it any other way. I love working in the fitness industry.
There's nothing wrong with keeping busy, is there? And tell me, so you are a regular listener of the show. Tell us a little bit about what it is that you like about podcasts.
I find it's very easy to just switch it on, have a listen while you're driving instead of the radio, or even when I'm at the gym training clients, I might have a break where I'm having early morning and I have some breakfast. I might just put my headphones on and have a listen to a part or a full show, depending on how much time I've got. It just takes me away from reality for a second, but also gets me in tune to what other professionals are doing within the industry and might give me some ideas. So it's always good to hear what others are doing and how success has enabled them to progress in the industry that we all love. So, I find it a very intuitive way of staying in touch with what's happening.
That's great. And talking about ideas, or are there maybe 3 things that you've gotten so far from the podcasts?
I've listened to quite a few shows over the course of the last 12 months. A few that stuck in my mind, one in particular with Conrad. And a lot of this stuff is fairly logical, but you don't think about it unless you're reminded of it. And her reference to referrals, having spent a lot of time in other industries, I was fortunate enough to sort of have a general understanding of how to get initial inquiries and work when I became a personal trainer. But I know it can still be quite difficult to make that initial contact, and her referrals at the point of sale, just by simply asking if there's someone else that may be interested when you sign somebody up, was it was just like a light got switched on in my head. I thought, wow, that's so easy, but so obvious. So I've been doing that ever since, and I think that was very a very critical point that she made, and certainly works well. It's so easy to ask, and you're not putting anybody up by asking such a simple question. So that was definitely one.
Absolutely. Casey had so many good tips in that particular show, and just in case anyone missed it, it was show 31, and she focused all around, just gave us the best advice on sales throughout that one. So that was a good one. What others did you like, Paul?
I think she also made a very good point, which I try and strive to achieve every day, and that was passion in the job. It's so easy to let personal emotions or personal circumstances overtake how you're feeling when you walk through the door or turn up to a boot camp or whatever the job is in the fitness industry that you do. And I've fallen victim to it in the past, I must admit, where certain circumstances or external stresses has overcome you. But as soon as you walk through that door, you've got to switch on, because the client will know. They can tell the mood you're in, or can just read your body language. And if you're not into it, then you can potentially lose a client by not being switched on. So I think it was incredibly important the way she mentioned that passion for your job needs to be redirected to every client that you train. And I try and do that each and every day, because even if I've had a bad day, I need to just switch on when I'm training my clients. Otherwise, they could potentially go elsewhere. So very, very important note to make, I think.
Totally agree. And Paul, were there any other podcasts that really resonated with you?
Well, I was fortunate enough to win Michelle Seeger's book, No Sweat, not that long ago. So I haven't had a chance to start reading it yet, but I was very keen on doing so. So I made sure I listened to a couple of her podcasts, because she's obviously at the forefront of our industry. And she made a mention of a point which I found very very interesting, and I researched it a little bit further, and that was turning physical activity into a treasure hunt. And I listened to a podcast, and then I jumped on a website and found the sort of the map or the process that followed that point. And I found it really interesting that for clients and particularly those that are wanting to lose weight, and there's obviously going to be a lot of weight loss clients and those that want to get to that ultimate body type or weight loss goal, the treasure hunt I found was really interesting. So obviously that's just enabling them to do more than just one activity throughout the day. They've obviously got their planned fitness, whether it be morning or afternoon, but encouraging them to do other segments of physical activity, and whether that's just been going for a walk or walking up the stairs or taking the dog for a short walk or doing something physical. And it just encourages them to be more active. And I found that was actually quite a good way of getting that message across without actually saying it directly. So, I actually shared her chart on my Facebook page to sort of reinforce that to my clients. So I'm hoping that message got across as well. So I really enjoyed that one.
Oh, I am so stoked to hear that you went through and downloaded that. We've actually got, and Michelle's interview was in show 33, and if anyone wants to check out that game that Paul's referring to, there's a direct link at the bottom of her show notes. She calls it the It's Your Move game. So I'm absolutely thrilled to hear that you made use of that. That's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I looked it up, I saved it on my computer, and then shared it on my Facebook page so others can benefit from that idea as well. I think it's great.
That's great. And was there one other that you particularly liked?
Yeah, I also listened to Sean Bester. There were quite a few points that he made in his podcast. I think just from my personal, ambitions from a PT, my overall goal is obviously to get more exposure, especially via social media, and obviously he's quite at the forefront of that. And I was listening intently to a lot of what he had to say, particularly regarding content and blogging and using his funnel just to turn an initial inquiry or initial comment through the process to a potential sale or a potential client. And I found that really interesting, and obviously the process within that. And obviously everyone's different and every trainer's different or every business is different. But if we have that process or that he referred to lead magnet as well, I think you can utilise that and obviously better your chances of conversion from just an initial inquiry or initial question into a potential sale or a potential client. So I'm probably going to actually go back and listen to that full podcast again to make more notes. But I think what he said and the way we can engage via social media is very prominent in today's society with the amount of activity that's around. So, yeah, I honestly believe that's certainly a way to go.
Yeah, Sean Bester's podcast, it was across 2 weeks, which was 35 and 36. It was one of those shows that it was so jam-packed with kind of advice and I guess a lot of practical stuff that you could walk away and do straight away. So I think having another listen is probably a really good idea, because I know that when I was going through the process of, first doing the interview and then doing the edit on that particular show, I was kind of blown away by just how much information he gave us. So I think, I think going back a second time is definitely a good idea. Paul, if you could choose a future guest for the show, who would it be and what would you ask them?
Good question. I had to think long and hard about this, because there's a lot of people that I currently follow on social media that I quite admire in regards to the way they've gone about their business and built their business and their I guess, following as well. As I mentioned, social media activity for me is a big part of how we can progress in the fitness industry. So people like, even international people like Dana Lynn Bailey, I've got also Australians like Sophie Goodall and Stephanie Zanzo, who are all competitive bodybuilders or fitness athletes, but they have a big social media presence. And on the back of that, they have quite successful sales in regards to fitness programs and products and services that they offer. So I guess in terms of questions, I'd ask those people about their social media activity, whether they've got assistance with that or whether they do it themselves in-house. And then further from that, how they get their client engagement, because a lot of their posts receive, hundreds, if not thousands of likes and comments. So how do they convert that engagement into an actual sale? It'd be really interesting to hear. Like, I know when I put up a post, you might get 10, 15, 20, 30 likes and maybe 1 or 2 comments, but for them to get so much activity just from one post or one photo, I'd love to know the method behind how they convert that into a sale and essentially their business, which is their model. So that'd be really interesting, I think.
I think that's actually a really great suggestion, Paul, and I'm kind of hearing a bit of a theme coming through, because last month our listener interview was with Sean Lestrange from New Image Personal Conditioning, and his guest suggestion was very similar. It was someone that had a very big social media profile and was very successful with the work that they did through online and through their website and stuff like that. So this is obviously an area that there is a lot of interest in. So we will seek to see if we can get one of those people that you mentioned and hopefully have them on the show in the future and explore that area a little bit more in detail.
That would be amazing.
Excellent. Well, Paul, I want to say thank you so much for being our listener interview for today. It was our absolute pleasure to have you on the show. And if anyone wants to check out what Paul does and his website, we'll be putting his URL on the show notes for today's episode. So thanks once again for joining us, Paul.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Wow, what an absolutely jam-packed show. It's nearly time to sign off for today, but before we go, it is time to announce the winners of the 12-month membership with Active Management. And the winners are Andrew from Beyond Studio and Hillary Blackstock. Congratulations, Andrew and Hillary, and a big thank you to Active Management for this month's prizes. Thanks for joining me for another week of the Fitness Business Podcast. This week, just for something different, I'm going to let Lexie Griffiths have the last word. This was one of her favourite quotes that she shared with me. I'll see you next week, tribe.
Be fearless, be bold, and above all, be you.
Great show this week that you should be suffering DOMs, delayed onset mind soreness, as you are overloaded and that's when your mind is strengthened. You and your business have been strengthened thanks to the amazing support of our premier sponsor, Active Management. Check out www.activemgmt.com.au only if you want to strengthen your business and your leadership. Don't forget all today's links and notes are found at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, where you can also subscribe and never miss a show and maybe win a prize. Next week is another incredible guest with Chantal, so get ready for more Fit Bizpiration.